What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. TammyTalks here. Let's talk Ready to Love, Season 8, Episode 5, Navigating Non-Negotiables. If you guys are brand new to the channel, I break down TV shows, one recap at a time, interject into each and every recap. So, if you guys enjoy that type of content, go ahead, hit that subscribe button for me. If you enjoy any part of the video, hit the like button and then leave your thoughts and theories and opinions and all that good stuff down below. All right. So this episode starts off. Remember last week, the episode picks up where last week left off, I should say. So Red and Marvin were at the forefront. They were in the bottom. They are the two that the ladies were kind of deliberating should go home. Ultimately, Red is sent home. Bye. Bye. Here's the thing with Red. Red really shot himself in the foot. And I'm not even talking looks, right? Red shot himself in the foot because one, I think a lot of people saw Red's interaction with Unique that day. A lot of people had their own type of interactions with Red that just weren't that pleasant. You know, nobody wants to be name dropped. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care who you know. I don't care who you've worked with. I don't care whose autograph you have, whose pictures you've had. I don't care about any of that stuff because I'm not dating them. I'm trying to date you. And I think Red just went about this the entire wrong way. He said in his final confessional that it's not him that's ready to love, it's them not ready to love him. I said, "Oh, girl." Well, in the grand scheme of things, yes, right, that is true. But it's also not because you really came in here on some other type stuff, and you couldn't take the fact that one or two women didn't like you, and then you just like you handled it poorly. So Tommy then tells them focus on their non-negotiables this week. Once the guys who are in control, the guys have the power, take some of the ladies out and really hone in on those non-negotiables so we don't have to waste anybody's time. It's episode 5, okay? By now we are in maybe the third, maybe fourth week. Let's start weeding out the people that you don't like, honing in on the people that you do, and talking about non-negotiables with them. So we get the first group date that is Herbert, Quentin, Janelle, and Katarina. Herbert asked Janelle how she's been juggling her situationship. So you got Quentin, you got him, maybe some one or two other guys that we might not be seeing that's probably taking her out. She said that how have you been handling yours? Because I can't get a text back. I said, oh, bow, bow. Right. I mean, Janelle went right to it. And then Herbert is just saying that he has been busy, but he's just a very laid back guy. That's not what he's on. Like, he'll reach out to her. Herbert said that his non-negotiable is wanting kids. Herbert wants kids. Katarina is in her confessional saying that she's very nonchalant about children. She's okay if she has kids, but she's more than okay if she doesn't. Girl, you don't want kids. And I feel like if you are straddling that fence, then you need to tell those guys so that you don't waste anybody's time. One thing that I hate on these reality shows, on some of these dating shows, is the lack of clarity, the lack of truth, the lack of honesty. You know if you want to have kids. And I think like this show, Love is Blind, Married at First Sight, where these people are coming into this looking for a spouse, looking for a long-time partner, they aren't always truthful about that. Like, we have seen so many people that will say that they do want kids because they know or they feel that it's going to open them up to a bigger array of people that they could have to potentially date from. Katarina, if you are more than okay with not having kids, girl, you really don't want kids. And if that is Herbert's deal breaker, then y'all don't need to be pursuing each other. They then play pickleball. Pickleball done got popular in the past couple months, ain't it? Okay. So Janelle and Quentin go against Katarina and Herbert. Janelle and Quentin win. Janelle and Herbert go to the side to talk. And she wants to know, like, if she can't get a call back or, if they can't talk, then she wants to know if he's really into her because he is her number one. We have seen Janelle talk to Quentin as well, but I do think that Herbert is unequivocally her number one. And Herbert is just saying how he moves at a slower pace. He's not used to, juggling multiple women like this at one time. And what I do think that some people on this show do need to do is have a bit of patience. Give some of these people grace. You know what I mean? Some people don't date multiple people at one time. So to be put into a situation where you are, it's a hard adjustment for some people. So Herbert says he just moves at a slower pace. Janelle just lets him know, like, I would prefer to be talking to you above everybody else. I think that Janelle still wants to be pursued, and that's probably why she's not making as many attempts to contact him, to reach out to him. I mean, it has to be a two-way street, though. But Herbert said that he will do better. So we have Chris. Chris has Aries over to his house. We do not see a lot of Aries. I feel like Aries is starting to blend into the abyss. And when I feel like when people start to blend into the wall, it lets me know that editing is doing that because they're not going to make it to the end. But Chris has a chef there, so he can cook, so that the chef can make some traditional. Chris is what, Nigerian? Make some traditional Nigerian foods from his culture. Just wants to, treat her. It's a really, really nice thing to do. So they talk about their non-negotiables, and they both agree that it's kind of with drama with co-parenting. So Aries, I believe, was previously married, and that's where her two sons are from. And Chris, I don't know if Chris was married, but he has a daughter. And they both agree that, like, there needs to be open communication because we are co-parenting. We don't want no baby daddy, baby mama, etc. drama. So they come to that agreement. We find out that Chris's father died the day before he was born. Super sad. Oh my God. And I don't know if his mother passed recently or if it's been a while, but he got really broken up about how the way that Aries talks about her kids, and you can tell the way she loves on her sons, it moves something in his spirit. He shows her this painting he had done of him and his mother, and he said that would be, Aries' way of meeting his mother. I like them. I do like them together, but I feel like Aries wasn't really empathetic with him. It was kind of a take your time. I can admit I am not the most empathetic person, so maybe I just don't know how empathy is supposed to work. But I kind of feel like she could have did a little more in that scene. But like I said, I like Aries and Chris together, and Chris seemed to be more than okay with what Aries did. So who am I, right? So then we have Marvin and Unique. They go horseback riding and they have a little picnic after, which was very, very romantic, very cute, very chill. So they kiss and Unique covers it from the camera. I said, girl, we can still tell what y'all doing. But they have a kiss and then they decide to talk about their non-negotiables. So we know that Unique, she didn't have to tell us, but we know that hers is like boundaries and all that type of stuff. Marvin's non-negotiable is kids. He wants at least two kids. She said that's what gives her pause, the two. But Marvin wants a son, and he's going to stop at nothing to get a son. To me, that's actually a red flag. That is actually a red flag because let's say, because like Unique said, it might not just not be possible, right? So let's say that we do get married, we have three kids, all girls come out. I physically can't have kids anymore, right? I've had terrible pregnancies, had terrible deliveries, or maybe she has to get a hysterectomy or some partial hysterectomy, or something happens and she cannot birth a child anymore. Are you going to go step out on her because you have to have a son? You won't feel your life is complete without a son. The way that he said that, that would give me a red flag. But she says that Marvin is still her top connection, which I had no idea because I feel like this is the first date we've seen them on. So then we get a big group date with Marie, Jessica, Keyra, Sierra, Chris, and Herbert at an improv class. Marie, do not wear those overalls again, my guy. that if you want to do overalls, I know they're coming back. I actually just bought a pair of overalls. If you want to do overalls, cool. But his looked like an apron more so than like overalls. I didn't like it. I didn't like them. I didn't like them. But nonetheless, they go in and during the improv, they're sitting down and the improv instructor is giving them different scenarios to bring out their non-negotiables, which I think is a very cool way of doing it. So Chris and Jessica did theirs, and theirs was very good. And his non-negotiable is finding somebody that can find a resolution. Jessica's is, I believe, like feeling protected. She wants to make sure that if something were to happen to her, that you got her back. You are protecting her. It's really, you're taking care of her for better or worse. We then get to Sierra and Herbert. I don't know how they heard anything because they talked over each other the entire time. That drove me crazy, y'all. Not even gonna hold y'all. That drove me crazy. But they talked over each other the entire time, and we found out that both of their non-negotiables are kids. So Sierra wants to have kids, which we know because she mentioned she wants a whole bunch of them. And Herbert wants to have kids. He wants to be married first, but Herbert wants kids as well. So that worked out for both of them because they see that they are at least compatible in that aspect. We then get to Keyra, who was very standoffish when she got there. She didn't seem relaxed. Some people just aren't like, some people don't like to perform, right? And I haven't done like formal improv, but my job used to always get like comedy sports, and they would pick on certain one of us to have to go up and do that. And I don't know, I'm not gonna say I dislike it, but it's not something that I'm like jumping at the bit to do either. But Keyra and Marie are talking, and Kira's non-negotiable is someone that is God-fearing. So they're doing a scenario of them talking on a Sunday afternoon, and she's like, "So did you go to church?" And he's like, "Yeah, Babside Baptist." And she kind of made a face about it. I feel like now in the era, especially even before this, but now in the era of COVID and work from home and everything is streaming, a lot of people watch church. I watch church because my church streams online, right? My church is literally the church that I watch the most. I'm not a member, but the church that I watch the most um is maybe 10 minutes from me. But they stream. So on days in the winter when it is a blizzard, because I am in Wisconsin, when if it's a blizzard outside or it's 30 below, as we get up here, I'm not always wanting to get dressed to go to church. And I grew up in church. And I remember being 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, and it being super cold out, super snowy, and my parents still had us get dressed to go to church. You know what I mean? I feel like being able to sit at home, I can take my notes, I have my Bible open, I have my Bible app, you still get the word. Because you know what I'm saying? So I feel like she kind of made a face at the way that he was like, yeah, bedside Baptist. It's a joke. It just means that he watched it on streaming. That's all. That's all. So while they're doing this, we find out that his non-negotiables, he wants somebody that is health conscious. Kira's ass said, "Are you healthy?" And he basically was like, just because, some people, let's be real, some people are heavy, right? I have never been a person that's super into weight. I was super, super skinny, like freshman year of high school, gained some weight, as you go through high school. Freshman, sophomore year of college, I dropped like crazy amount of weight. Super, 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 super skinny. And now at my late 30s, I'm bigger than I was in college, right? It happens. But there are some people that I have known that I've been friends with that have just always been big or bigger people. Some people, like Marie say, just can't lose the weight, but that doesn't mean that they're not healthy. I thought that was so ignorant and so rude of Keyra. And that was just the tip of the iceberg for her throughout the rest of the episode. So we get a date with Phil and Katerina. I honestly didn't pay attention. Phil kind of bores me, and I feel like it's because we don't get a lot about Phil. Phil doesn't have a personality that kind of jumps out. So it was just kind of like, oh, Phil and Katerina are on a date. You know what I mean? We then get a group date, kinda, with Quentin, Kira, and Unique, and they're at a boxing class. So Quentin and Unique have this conversation about being healed. Unique feels that someone being healed or their process of healing is subjective, which is true. Which is true. I can look at Unique watching what I've seen these past 5 episodes and feel that she is not healed from that last relationship just by some of the stuff that she is saying, right? Whereas someone else might be like, no, Unique is totally healed. She just has her boundaries in place. She knows exactly what she wants and what she's going to allow. So I feel like it's, you know what I mean? It is subjective. But coming out of that conversation, Quentin does not know if this is something that he wants to embark on because he does not think that Unique is healed. And he doesn't know if that's something that he wants to work through with her, and that's valid. That's valid. You don't like, there are some people that get out of like bad relationships, right? Whether it's a marriage or just, a situationship or an engagement or just a relationship. You come out of it, the next person that you go into it with, into another situationship with, they might not want to deal with that baggage. You know what I mean? So at least Quentin knows that he's able to acknowledge that without going into something with her and then being like, I don't want to deal with this now when we're in the thick of it. So Unique ends up leaving. Kira. Kira doesn't feel that Quentin is genuine, okay? She says that, and she tells him that he looks like the type of guy that would date white women. We have all said this at one time or another before, right? You can look at, and I hate to say it, but you can look at some men, you can look at some black women, some black men, some black women, and be like, yeah, they look like they date white people. Same way that you can look at some white people and say, oh, yeah, you look like you date black girls. You look like you only date black guys, right? We've all said it a time or two before. But I think it is extremely rude and ignorant to say that to that person without any type of proof. So she then feels that she can say that because most of her friends are white. Kira, we can tell most of your friends are white. He tells her he's never dated a white woman. His preference, he said he has dated some Latina. So she says, that's your preference? And he's like, no. My parents are black love. My grandparents are black love. I want black love. My preference is black women. She looks shocked. She then goes on to say that, because I talk proper and I'm prissy, people think that, I like white men. Kira, 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 Kira. You talking proper and prissy has nothing to do with people thinking that you more so enjoy the company of white people. Because, okay, it's the stuff that Kira has been saying, right? The fact that when Kira said that, I'm the closest to white here. Trust me, I know. I'm basically a white girl. You say stuff like that make people question your proximity and your comfortableness with being around black people. It has nothing to do with the cadence of your speech. It has nothing to do with how proper you think you talk. I'm from up north. People tell us that we talk extremely proper all the time. You hang out with, you may think, oh, Tammy talks extremely proper, May. You may think Tammy talks extremely proper. She is in Wisconsin. She probably around a whole bunch of white people. Not realizing that I grew up in a neighborhood that was full of black kids. My church was predominantly black. My elementary school was predominantly black. My middle school was predominantly black. My high school, predominantly black, went to a PWI, but I don't have, outside of my coworkers, I don't have white friends. But people can say, oh, I talk proper. That has nothing to do with how proper or prissy you sound. I have some friends that are ghetto, hood, hood, that are still wearing the Lacoste shirts, that are shopping at the Abercrombies, that are very, very, very prim and prissy, as Keyra tried to say it, that has nothing to do with the fact that they are super ghetto. You know, like I just Keyra bothers me. Keyra bothers me. Ain't she the one that had them boots on? So then we get to the men's lounge, and at the bottom, the guys were mentioning Unique just because, you know, the whole healed situation. Keyra, because they are questioning um, her blackness, not questioning her blackness, but her comfortability in being black. Plus she just has said a lot of, you know, kind of off-putting things to people. And then they're questioning Aries, and it's because they're getting more friendship vibes from her. So Marie takes Keyra out, and he tells her that a lot of the guys are questioning, you know, her connection to blackness. Like, are you cool with being black? Like, because I guess some of the guys feel that they are very blackety black, black, black. And I want to be able to take you to like a Black Arts Fest, or take you to, you know, down in the hood to a Domino's game, or, you know, something like that, without you being like, oh my God, ew, what? I want to be able to do that. We're not questioning or taking your black card if you can't play spades, or you can't play dominoes, or you can't do the electric side. You know what I mean? So they end up keeping her. She feels it's disrespectful for the guys to question her comfortability in black spaces, but then goes on to say that she's not really a black power kind of girl. Go play in somebody else's face, Keyra. Y'all should have sent Kira's ass home, to be real. Keyra should have been sent home. And then they tell Unique that she's not ready to love. She was like, no, I am. Just not with anybody here. And that's fine. Keyra needs to be next on the chopping block. For real. I thought it was extremely rude and ignorant of her to ask Quentin, or to tell him, I think you date white women. Like that bothered me. But then for you to double down and get mad that they're questioning you. It's the same thing you've been doing to Quentin, girl. I guess. Let me know what y'all thought about this episode. How do you guys feel about Keyra asking Quentin that? How do you feel about her response to them feeling like they're questioning her comfortability being in black spaces? Hop in the comments down below if you haven't already subscribed. Thumbs up the video. Peace.